Hi, I'm Sonja Redden, Tranquil Parenting Coach, and I'm here with Miss Heather. Heather has a very broad experience base. Heather, could you please describe who you have worked with in your professional experience?
Yeah, hi, my name is Heather Hallett. I've worked 15 years as both a preschool teacher and an infant toddler teacher. And then I transitioned into social work, and I've worked with alcohol and drug dependency and treatment. I've worked with elderly care, and I've also done some work with children with disabilities.
Thank you, Heather. Heather has also, I met Heather about 15 years ago. She was my own daughter's preschool instructor. My daughter was 2 years old when I started my first divorce, and then her father passed away. So we had a lot of transition going on, and Heather just happened to be the preschool teacher of choice, and she really, really helped with the transition between being with her dad all day, every day, to being in school and not necessarily losing out on life, but learning to experience life in a different way. Heather, can you express, Heather did add art and a lot of project-based learning with that. So if you could start with talking about how art can help children communicate.
Yeah, so one thing that I would like to point out is that when we work with children, you never work just with children. We work with children and families because it's such an integrated part of a child's life is their family. But so art is one thing that is just a natural part of children's learning. Children are learning both from concrete to abstract, and so art and learning about reading, it's all part of a natural development to going from that concrete to abstract, and they're learning about symbolism that, you know, a picture can represent feelings, emotions, it can represent a person, it represents, there's representation in art, in their own drawings and in drawings they see throughout the day. You know, children learn very simple signs like, you know, the bathroom. You know, they all know they see the little person, that's a bathroom. They all know they see the golden arches, that's McDonald's. And then they're able to translate that learning into their own artwork, that there is, you know, their artwork has a meaning, it symbolizes something.
Yes, that's great. Thank you, Heather. Also, what I've learned is that with art, there's a level of hierarchy in our worlds, but when you add art, everyone's on the same level. So they don't have to feel that they can't communicate because of power. They can't communicate because of the hierarchy, that they're able to be on the same level.
Absolutely. When children create something, they have ownership of that, and that absolutely gives them a voice and gives them a place in the world.
Yeah. So the next question was project-based learning. I know you had my daughter doing a lot of projects along with her, all of her classmates. Actually, you had small projects for, you know, them individually, but also group projects. How does that help them prepare for the future and problem solving?
Project-based learning is just, you know, it's another step in the learning process. Whether it's a group project where you're working together, that's a lifelong skill that children need to learn, that they will use for the rest of their life. Individual projects, again, it's being able to be creative, being able to be expressive, and being able to take ownership of something that you have created.
Next, well, that also leads to so problem solving, and when you problem solve and things go well, or problem solve and they don't do well. So that leads to the next question, which would be natural consequences versus punishment. How do you see that working? Could you describe how natural consequences work better than punishment?
Natural consequences is really a learning experience for children, and children are natural experimenters. They are just natural learners. You know, they see things, they touch things, they want to know how things, they naturally want to know how things work, and behavior is no different. You know, they want to know how their behavior works, what kind of responses they get, and they learn that best through trial and error. Again, they are natural scientists with physical and with emotional and with behavioral learning. They are natural scientists and experimenters. with how the world works and how people know what the response is to their actions. Punishment, on the other hand, really denies children an opportunity to learn beyond don't do this or do that. They don't understand, they don't get the reasoning or the logic behind it. They just know I don't do this because it's wrong. I do this because it is right. They're not learning, the natural consequences of how the world works. They are not understanding the whys, the natural flow, flow of life. So when we punish children, we deny them an opportunity to learn. But when we let children experience natural consequences, they learn that natural if then. If I do this, then this happens. And that's a basic for science for the rest of their life. If we do this, this is what happens. That's really the basics of science
Yeah.
and math learning.
Right, and then the definition for punishment would be teaching someone to not do something or not what to do. So when punishment is involved, then you're saying no. And if you're using discipline or natural consequences, you're saying yes, and then the next step.
Right, and that's a punitive, and it involves more emotions. Where natural consequences are not a highly emotional thing. It's very, very logical and reasoning, where punishment is more of a blaming and
shaming,
punitive.
Or guilt.
Yes.
So along with that, the next step would be to look at what the parents are doing and what the benefits of parents getting along, having stability, trusting transitions, and creating win-win solutions. And they're going to learn natural consequences versus punishment by watching their parents. So could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so children really see their caregivers, and by caregivers it can be a parent, a step-parent, a grandparent, teachers, anyone who they have a bonded connection with. So children look to their caregivers as their foundation, as their safe base. So when something happens, they're going to look to a trusted caregiver for a response, so that they know how to respond to whatever situation is happening in their life. The calmer that the parent is, or the more stable their routine is, the children are better able to handle changes or to handle stress in their life. If they have a good routine and there's a small change or a small stressor, they have a firm foundation, so it's not as big of an event. But if a child is living in chaos and uncertainty, they add more stress to that. They don't have that solid foundation that they need to deal with those stressors in life.
Yeah, and then a little bit more, if you could go talk a little bit more about the win-win solutions and struggling versus not struggling with co-parenting. What have you seen in your experiences when the parents do not cooperate? What's the harm? What's the effect that happens with the children?
Right. So when parents are getting along, children know what to expect. They know what's coming next. They know I'm with this parent for this time, and then I'm going to see my other parent, and they have a trust in both parents, that both parents are going to be there when they say they're going to be there, and that both parents, it's any absence is a temporary absent from that parent, which helps them build trust and understanding. When children don't have that, they don't have that foundation, and they don't have that emotional stability that they need. So a lot of their time and day is spent worrying about where they're going to go after school, worrying about who they're going to be with, what the other parent is doing. And so they are worried about those adult type situations that they don't have control over, and they're not focused on their learning. They're not focused in the moment that they're in. They're not focused on their growth. They are focused on outside source, the outside situations that they don't have control over.
Yeah,
that's the best thing that we see, obviously we want to work to prevent those situations for kids, is for kids to have a trusting relationship with both parents, for children to have a routine that helps build that trust and to build that stability that they need, so that they know what's going to happen. And again, that sets them up for if there is a change, if a parent is late, if there is a change, a special event, they still have that trust and foundation that this change is temporary, and I'm going to be able to see both of my parents love me, both of my parents are taking care of me.
Yeah, and that's life changing. If it's one way or the other, it's dramatically life changing. Where if the parents can get along and everything's smooth and transitions go well and everything goes as planned, it's amazing, and it puts the children on the right path, just as if they were within a family that is not separated.
Right.
What are the effects of self-sabotaging that you have observed, where parents continually do not take advantage of co-parenting opportunities to learn how to set things straight and how to allow transitions and allow for experiences to happen?
Right. So as I said in the beginning, when we work with children, we definitely work with children and families, because there is such a close connection to things that are happening in the family. It has a direct effect on the child. The children are looking to their caregivers as their base. So if a children is looking to someone who is supposed to be their secure base, and that person is in chaos, is in crisis constantly, then that's what that child is seeing. That's how they're learning to respond to situations. So that self-sabotage not only self-sabotages the parent, but is also setting their child up for those types of responses to life, where if a parent has taken advantage of some of the services and techniques that you teach, Sonja, about planning ahead with transition, planning ahead, and even practicing new situations, so that they can have a calm interactions, to have planned out interactions, transitions, then the child will see that and learn that as the norm. And self-sabotage also is not beneficial to the parent. The parent's burning themselves out, and then they're not in a place where they're making growth, and then that affects the child. So the child is worried about the parent, worried about what's going to happen, and again, it denies that child that safe base that they need for their own growth.
It's very, very scary. Thank you so much, Heather. This has been a really great interview. I really appreciate all of your support that you give me. And the self-sabotaging leads directly to Tranquil Parenting's mission of preventing harm on children. If the viewers, thanks for watching. Viewers, if you have any questions, please contact Tranquil Parenting. You can you can leave a message with Heather or myself right through the website at www.sayingpups.life. Thank you. Thanks again, Heather.
All right. Thank you, Sonja.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.